Seth has been incredible with the, as I call it, the Department of War. You know, we call it the Department of Defense, but between us, I think we're going to change the name. You want to know the truth? I think we're going to have some information on that maybe soon. But I think because, Department of Defense, we won the World War I, World War II. It was called the Department of War. And to me, that's really what it is.
Hey, shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shabbat Chanak, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Shalom, shalom to all the believers out there. Now, this is, I had some other lessons planned, so Lord's will I can get to those. But I was online, of course, and I was watching a video. It was like I think it was on Fox or something like that, on one of these local news outlets. And basically, I heard that Trump wants to change the name from the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. And we'll play this video again, but as he said early in this video, World War I, World War II, the name was actually the Department of War. It was not the Department of Defense. They changed it after World War II. Okay, and it seems ironic, right? Would you say that out of all things that you can do, why now do you want to change it back, okay, to the Department of War? When you the President Trump, all right, campaigned on what? Stopping all wars. He said if he was in office, the Ukraine, Russia war would not have happened. All right, and he boasts himself of stopping 7 wars since coming back into office, which we know he just says whatever's on his heart. Okay. But is this a omen of the times to come? All right. We keep telling you Israelites, all right, that war is coming. Okay. Furthermore, Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a man of war, Yahweh. Okay. They're men of war, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, they're men of war. And they're the ones that muster the battle. So the spirit, let me actually get Proverbs. We're going to play that video again. We'll get Proverbs 21. Okay. Because Esau, he can't hide himself. All right. His mind is geared towards what? The sword, war. War is in his heart. There's a scripture on that. Let me see. I believe that's Psalms 55, or it may be in, give me a second. Yep, that's it. Let me bring this out first. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Let me actually, since we just jumping around, let me go and just read this. We'll come back to this. But I was trying to find a video on basically Trump saying that he will stop the wars. I mean, they're out there. I didn't look too deep. Okay, but this is from AP News. It says Trump says he was a bit sarcastic when he promised to end Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. Remember when he said that he was campaigning? He said, if I get into office in 24 hours, I'm gonna end that war. He's been in office, what, I don't know, 7 months, 8 months, something like that, and the war has not stopped. And now he wants to change the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. All right, at the height of tension between nuclear superpowers. Is that weird, or is that an omen of the signs to come? Okay, let's go to we're jumping around, so just bear with me. All right, let's go to Revelation. We're gonna go back to Psalms 55. Revelation 11:14. Okay. We've been telling you that war is coming. The scriptures also say what? Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. All right. Let the weak say I'm strong. All right. Because all these other nations, they're preparing for war. What are the rhetoric that they, try to say we're for peace? That's to keep the population docile. Meanwhile, and behind the scenes, what are they doing? They're building military arsenals. They're building nuclear weapons. They're building cruise missiles, ballistic missiles. They're building warships. They're building armor, and they're making weapons, right? Revelation 11 and 14. The second war was passed. Trump spoke about the Second World War. Okay, which was what? It was the Department of War. Because Esau's telling you what spirit he's in. All right, and this is going to go. Give me a second. This is going to go past the head of your average everyday American citizen. Okay? Esau, he's getting ready to go to war. Well, that's the spirit that's out there. All right, let me continue. Behold, the third war cometh quickly. So as we're the height or the build up of World War III, as we are building up into World War III, the last war to end all wars, where Yahweh Shai is going to come back. America, which is going to be which is the main character of the destruction that's getting ready to happen. Okay, unbeknownst to America, America is now changing the name back to the Department of War from the Department of Defense, because they're telling you the spirit that they're in. Esau, he can't hide himself. He's in that spirit. What is that? Is that Isaiah or Jeremiah 49? Let me just see. Give me a second. Yeah, let me read this real quick, because why would you do that? All right, why would you do that? Because Esau is in that spirit. All right, he's being roused up. Okay, the Most High is putting Esau back into that ancient spirit, that ancient warlike spirit. Jeremiah 49 and 7, concerning Edom, the Edomites, whether a small hat in that land over there, or in Jerusalem, or the Edomites that are scattered throughout Europe, in different parts of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all throughout Central South America, all you Edomites. Okay, and in particular, you Edomites here in America, the chief, okay, of the Edomite power structure. Thus said the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is there wisdom vanished? Well, yeah, I thought you were all about peace. But again, he just said that what? He was actually being sarcastic when he said that he was going to end that war. He said he was going to bring peace. Let's look at this word sarcastic. A definition, right? Express sarcasm, characterize or of the nature of sarcasm. It's not really giving me anything here. Okay, right here. It says sarcastic means using remarks that clearly mean the opposite. See? All right. Through peace, they make war. Okay, that's the same ancient Edomite spirit that they're coming in. They actually say the opposite. Now they're coming out and saying, hey, this is what it is, because they said Department of Defense when it was really all about war. But now they're turning back into that spirit of war. War is in his heart. We'll get that in Psalms 55. Sarcastic means using remarks that clearly mean the opposite of what you say, often to humorously criticize or hurt someone's feelings. It involves a tone or context that indicates mockery or contempt. Yeah, you American people, you're being rocked to sleep. All right, you're being rocked to sleep. You Magites, you people that believe in, All right, MAGA, you believe in Trump, you believe in these politicians, okay, these cult of personalities, all right, that you put your trust in that they make you believe that they're here for your benefit. Meanwhile, you're being hoarded into a cage, okay, and you're getting ready to be chipped. All right, bear with me. Let me sip on this tea real quick. Okay. Sarcasm. Okay. Again, Trump says he was being a bit sarcastic when he promised to end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. President Donald Trump said Friday that he was being a little bit sarcastic when he repeatedly claimed as a candidate, that he would have the Russia-Ukraine war solved within 24 hours. And even before he took office, he campaigned on the stance of, I'm going to stop all wars. If I was in the president, there would be no war. Again, this reference Revelation the 13th chapter. He had two horns like a lamb. They all speak polite and politically correct, and they're harmless and but that's how they rule. But how do they actually speak? That's the perception of how they rule, but actually, how do they speak? What are their actions? It's dragon-like. It's warlike. Okay, and he's leaning into that spirit. He's not running away from that Edomite spirit. He basically deceived everybody. But this is your Edomite. Okay, this is your Edomite. I'm not gonna really. I just wanted really. This, we might come back here, right? We're moving around, we're jumping around. Let me go back to Jeremiah 49. Okay. Verse 8, flee, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Yeah, Edom, he's preparing to go to war with all the nations because this is a dying superpower. But see, your tricks, okay, your schemes are actually going to fall upon you, right? Verse 10, let me see, verse 9, if great gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If these by night they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. See, he's telling you who he is. He's about war. Okay, like DARPA, right? Which before you had DARPA, the defense. Let me research something like that. Let me get the DARPA meaning. DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is a U.S. government agency responsible for developing emerging technologies for military use. But they call it defense. Before it was DARPA, it was called ARPA, Advanced Research Projects Agency. But they put the D there to make you, and you can look it up. I'm not going to look it up. You can look it up. You can ask ChatGPT and they'll tell you. They put the D there to hide themselves from who they are. But now they're coming out and saying, we're this is the spirit that we're in. Let's play that video again. And I know we're moving around.
Pete Hegseth has been incredible with the, as I call it, the Department of War. We call it the Department of Defense, but between us, I think we're going to change the name. You want to know the truth? I think we're going to have some information on that maybe soon, but I think because, Department of Defense, we won the World War I, World War II.
World War I, we won that. We won World War II. Okay.
It was called the Department of War. And
it was called the Department of War. So basically say, hey, look, we're going into a wartime economy and we're going to win World War III, which you're not going to win. It's going to be a snare unto you. Okay. You're getting caught up. You're being exposed on all levels. Okay, what did Gerald Celente say? One of his quotes: "When all else fail, they take you to war." Again, when all else fails, they take you to war. The Edomites being exposed on all sides, going all the way to the highest level of government, the president. Okay, the highest level of government. All these so-called politicians, entertainers, all these athletes, they take an oath. They're part of so-called secret societies. They practice ritual magic, occultic magic. They're into the occult. They're into esoteric and palm card reading, and you got what do they call it? The crystal balls and sacrifices, and they like to play with little children too. There's a whole underground ring, multiple underground rings interconnected of just abominations. Okay, and they're being exposed from these things. Let's go. We're gonna finish this. Let's go back to Jeremiah 49. I have made Esau bare, verse 10. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Because ultimately, what's going to happen? He's going to be destroyed. America's going to be completely wiped out. And then all you other Edomites, you're going to be carted into captivity. All right, you Edomites in Europe, you Edomites in Australia, okay, Canada, all you Edomites throughout Central South America, all you Edomites that are mingled amongst the nations. Okay, you're going to get carted into captivity just along. You're not going to be alone. All the other nations going to be carted into captivity as well. But your baby America that went around the whole world, destroying the whole world through their wine, their philosophy, that's going to be completely wiped out in this Third World War. Okay? And Esau knows he's getting ready to go to war. All the nations know that they're going to go to war. Okay? The nations don't want to go to war. Ultimately, they don't want to fight a nuclear battle because they understand if they fight a nuclear battle, that's assured mutual destruction or mutual assured destruction, mad. But the Lord is going to actually force them. Let me go to Proverbs 21. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. And as rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, is in control of all the chess pieces. He's controlling all the kings of the nations. He's making them say certain things, making them do certain things. Just like, they gave Trump, they said, hey, all right, cool. Now we're going to change the name to the Department of War. They're basically telling you people, you're getting ready to go to war. That's what they're telling you. But the American people are so caught up chasing a bag, trying to be, a influencer on TikTok, which it was very easy. It was a pretty much they cut TikTok off, under Biden. Before Biden left his presidency, they cut it off. People were bugging out. People were making money. Say you do TikTok, even if you made like $1,000 a month extra, just doing bullshit on TikTok, and then you structure your lifestyle around that extra $1,000 coming in. Some people making $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month on social media, on TikTok. Then they got cut off overnight, and they bugged the hell out. But Trump, he gave it back to you. So we can see how Esau, he gives you the opportunity to do certain things, but he can take it back at any time. Okay? And who's all really in control of all these things is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right? And you people are getting ready to be thrown into the meat grinder. You getting ready to go to war. Okay? Let me go back to that video.
And, Department of Defense, we won the World War I, World War II. It was called the Department of War. And to me, that's really what it is. Pete Heggs.
And he got the memo. His masters told him, hey, look, this is what we're doing. All right, float the idea that you're going to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War. because that's the spirit that Esau Edom is in. Okay, let me see if I finish. I think we're cool on Jeremiah. I mean, we can go. Let me read a little bit more. We can go into Esau. It goes more into Esau's destruction. Verse 11: Leave thy fatherless children. I'll preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. Yeah, the Israelites. For thus said the Lord: Behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. That was us. We went into captivity. We were destroyed as a nation. Our heritage stripped away, from beat, graped, the unthinkable. And it's still happening today. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Yeah, the Edomite, the wicked, the actual wicked of the earth. The actual wicked of the earth. Do you believe that you're going to be able to, get out of this unscathed? The Edomites is going to ride off into the sunset. They're going to have hegemony over the earth forever. They're going to have all the nations, under their rule forever. There's a big push to condemn you Jakes, because they want you off the earth. They want you back into captivity. That's when America was made great. Okay, and you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans, you have too much liberty. You have too much of a voice. You complain too much. You don't want to work. That's what they say. When Jake be working their ass off. Okay. For I have sworn by myself, said the Lord, that Basra shall be a desolation, which is America, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be a perpetual waste. Yeah, all your cities here in America, from Maine all the way to California, you got San Diego, LA, San Francisco, all the major cities in between there, Arizona, Nevada, all right, Georgia, New York. I mean, all Florida, all the whole continental United States. Okay, is going to be destroyed. Okay, because of the wickedness. But this just shows you that Esau is in that ancient spirit of war. Again, in this article, right? Trump says he was a bit sarcastic. We went to that definition. Basically to say something mockingly in the opposite. When he promised to end Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. How many times do we have to tell you that this dude is a serpent? He's the devil. Don't trust your enemy. Let me get that, and then I want to get Psalms 55. Okay, I think I add chat a couple of things. Okay, yeah. So I asked chat, can you find any videos of President Trump saying if he was in office, he would stop wars, or how he is opposed to war? And then it says, here's a short clip where Donald Trump asserts he wouldn't start wars and claims he would stop them. Let's go to that. I think I went to it, but I kind of exited out.
A historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. We're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. We had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
You see that? He said he's not going to start a war. He's going to stop wars. So then why would you even be associated with war? Okay. Now, give me a second. Where's that precept? What I think it's in Daniel, maybe. But it's escaping me. Give me a second. Let me just look. And through the policy, you shall cause wrath the president, you shall magnify seven heart, and by peace shall destroy many, which is going into Antiochus. Okay, I mean that's going into Antiochus, but it's the same spirit that Esau is in. Let's go to there was like another scripture on my mind, but let's go to Sirach 12. I believe it's 12. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thy enemies, or never trust thy enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right, because iron, no matter what, like, for example, you have a cast iron pan, right? And you have to season the pan, and you have to keep the pan oiled. Okay, you have to keep the pan oiled. If not, what happens to the pan? It rusts. But no matter what, iron by nature, it oxidizes. Okay, it's going to oxidize. No matter what, no matter how much you season it, eventually it's going to show its true color. Okay, and that's basically what Esau, he's showing the people, but he's still doing it in a very subtle way. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed. See? And beware of him. Oh, I'm going to stop all the wars. Da, 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 da. And you people are still buying. You're still buying the back and forth American political circus. Where they say one thing, but they actually mean the other thing. They're actually speaking as a dragon. And the dragon represents what? War. It represents the sword. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, a mirror, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. When you see his true colors, when you wipe that that oil off, or that cast, and I'm using cast iron because I'm pretty sure all of us, we've experienced, cooking with cast iron. And when you wash cast iron with soap and water and you take away that seasoning, what happens when it dries? You start to see that rust. Okay? So here it is. Esau is showing his true colors. All right? Well, Revelation 12 and 12, he knoweth that I'm about to say something completely different. That his time is at an end or something like that, right? But he knoweth that he has but a short time. It was like a inside. I was gonna say an inside joke. I am an Edomite, and how did the Edomite say it? And my days are numbered, or some shit like that. Or am I going to be destroyed? Like a homeless Edomite that said something. Let me finish this. As if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee. And this is why part of this gospel, this doctrine, is depart spiritually. All right. How does that manifest? Well, get out of his military, get out of his police force. Okay, get out of his hospital. What's it called? Organizations. Get out of his government. You got a government position. You should be trying to find another position. Now, of course, everything. With wisdom. Everything with wisdom. But it's mainly talking about spiritually. But also, stop voting, because you're putting your spirit and your energy. That's what they want. They really just want your energy. You to believe in the system. That's what makes the system go, is the people believing in the system. And as the system starts to crumble and fall, the people stop to trust in the system. And this is when sedition happens, which Trump just came out and basically said, if you burn the American flag, because there's going to be more dissent. There's going to be more anger at the U.S. Government. And people are going, to show their their dislike. They're gonna be burning flags, and Trump basically is saying that he signed an executive order. If you burn a flag, let me just get that. You burn a flag, okay? Burn flag. You're gonna get a year in jail. Which, let's just go. Which burning a flag is protected by the your right to free speech.
National headlines that President Trump is telling prosecutors to jail people who burn the American flag, despite the Supreme Court ruling it's free speech.
See, he's coming in like a dictator. This is that cruel Lord.
Burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately.
Trump's executive order tells prosecutors to pursue litigation.
And you see, the Edomites doing this. Okay? Edomites are doing this. They're agents of chaos. Control, reaction, solution.
Meant to have the
you got Jake is a terror. But why is there now all of a sudden an importance to come after the gangs when America loves gang culture? They love Jake shooting and killing each other. All right, they love degeneracy amongst you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans. All of a sudden they want to stop it. They're going to clean up the streets. Really, they want to mow you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans down. They want you out there. They're looking at you as the problem. And ultimately, behind the scenes, they want the profits. They want this word to stop going out, really.
Supreme Court overturned the 1989 ruling protecting anyone who burns the American flag. The justices at the time said free speech doesn't just mean written or spoken words, but symbolic actions as well.
See? So he's overturning, all right, Supreme Court rulings. So the president, the executive branch, is overturning the what is it? The legislative branch. Is it a legislative branch? The Supreme Court? Correct me, please. It's Esau. It's not even Jake. Jake's not even doing this. Okay, but Jake's gonna be blamed for everything. And again, this is all what is it? Damn, I forget what it's called. Slacking. My mind is all over the place.
For every single one of you American citizens, we burn this flag in protest to that president flag. We do this in respect for our citizens and our constitutional rights. What? I'm not putting it out. I can burn it. It's my right. Executive order that President Trump put forward today.
He did it out of in front of the White House. Is he set up to do that? That's what fair speech. This is all fair speech. Okay.
Order, I should be in prison. The second thing is to show that this president and his lackeys do not believe in the First Amendment right.
And you see, this is a Secret Service. Secret Service police, they're all dressed in all black. This is going to be Trump's private police.
You simply
See, the other police, they got the white shirt. They're all dressed in black.
A flag within a 2-foot circle on brick, and you get detained.
And a lot of this is this is all set up. It's all psyops, undercover agents agent provocateurs. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. You know, this is why Esau is always deflecting. You know, the reason why everything's messed up upon you, Jakes. Okay, I'm done. And so, I mean, let's finish that. Yep, verse 12. It says, "Set him not by the." Oh, for example, it says, "Though he humbled himself," like you so-called Latinos, you know, you so-called blacks, you voted for Trump, Latinos for Trump, and then when he came into office, right? What did he do? He started deporting your monkey ass. But Jake will never learn until it's too late. Set him not by thee, least when he has overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therein. Yeah, and a lot of you, Jason, you're going to be pricked by the words of the prophets, okay, which are the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, the actual words that the Lord has put in our mouths to tell you. All right, the Lord said that he has set up watchmen to watch over the house of Israel, to let you know the enemy is coming, let you know war is coming. Okay, there's a time of peace and there's a time of war. This is Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. And we're in the time of war. And Esau's telling you, he said, we ain't in no time of defense. Okay, we in a time of war. We gonna change it. And then I went to the chat, right? And I asked, what's the history on the department? It says also, can you give me a brief history on the Department of War in America? Right? Department of War, 1789, 1947. And Esau changed it to hide himself from being a warmonger. He was still pushing war. Okay, but he was doing under the banner of defense. Now he's switching back to that ancient spirit, and they're all about using grammar, which when you actually go into the word grammar, you got to look it up backwards. The word grammar goes back to the word grimoire, which is a book of spells. If you look up the word grimoire, it's going to go back into the word grammar. Now I did it a while back, but Esau be changing definitions. That's that new speak, because he's being found out. So you have to search. You might have to do some digging, or it might not be there anymore. Let me see. Let me just ask chat. What does the word grim, or I don't know how to spell it. Grim. I think that's how you spell it. Go back to and the etymology. Let's just ask that. We're gonna go back. I'm just just playing around. Well, let's just see. There we go. See chat. See. Etymology of grimoire. The word grimoire comes from the Old French grimoire, which originally meant grammar. See? Which originally meant grammar. Okay? Now, medieval meaning. In the Middle Ages, grammar didn't just mean language rules. It also meant any scholarly or learned book, often written in Latin. So it's going back to the Romans, the Edomites. Association with magic, because Latin texts seemed mysterious to the general public, which that's the new Latin text would be the American, would be the English, which we all know English, but there's many traps in English. There's many words that we use that actually have they have a true meaning, and we're using them in a different way. But Esau, he uses these words. He puts spells on people through these words, and he's actually telling you what he's about and what he does through his words. But the people, they do not really know the language. Esau does not teach etymology, or where words go back to, the root, and what they actually mean. Okay. Grimoire began to be associated with occult or mystic writings by the 13th, 14th century. Why? That when the 13th, 14th century, what was that? What was going on? The Renaissance, the rebirth of the Roman Empire, the rebirth of the Latin, the old ancient way, the Romantic time period. Okay, going back to Rome. Okay, and those same play on words, the same spells that they use through the different words. It was especially used for books of magic spells, astrology, and ritual instructions. See? Modern French, the word grimoire developed in the French by the 18th century, and by the 19th century, it entered English with its current meaning a book of magic, incantations, and occult knowledge. So it's just telling you. So let's go back. So there you go. If you just thought I was capping, the word grammar goes back to the word grimoire, which is a book of spells. Okay, so them changing the Department of War to the Department of Defense, okay, was a play on words. They were playing on grammar. They were using spells. Now they're changing it back because ultimately the devil got to show you what he's about. He can't. We read the scripture. He can't hide himself. He is who he is. Okay. Department of War, right? So the history, origin, 1789. So really, since the inception of America, it's been all about war. The foundation of America was built upon war. They had to destroy the inhabitants of this earth, and then they fought the Spanish, and they fought the French and the British, okay, to be the new governors of this land. They destroyed the tribes, Gad, Reuben, Issachar, right? And then they fought their Edomite brothers. Okay, who's gonna take advantage of this land? You can read that, but there's a history there going back to the 1789. Okay, when that name was coined, and then they just changed it to 1947 after World War II. And now in 2025, under President Donald Trump, Nero Trump, all right, the cruel Lord, they're changing it back to war. Because why? We're in a time of war. Okay, let me just bring this out and we're going to close it up. Psalms 55, okay, because he's showing you what he's about. All right, 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. And the people, they're deceived by the words that Esau's a smooth talker. Esau is a smooth. Esau. He studies words. He studies psychology, sociology. He studies, color therapy, psychology. Yeah, he studies psychology. The study of the mind, the psycho. He understands triggers, trigger words. Okay, virtue signaling. Okay, he knows how to deflect. He knows straw man argument. He knows how to smooth talking. He's a serpent. He knows how to talk both ways and not answer the question. Deflect. All right. So they were smoother than butter. You know how smooth butter is. If you have butter on the ground and you're walking on butter, you're going to slip. All right. Or you put that butter on that cast iron skillet and you put them eggs in there. It's going to make a non-stick surface. But war was in his heart. So he comes in the spirit of peace. But actually war is in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. See? So that's the spirit of Esau. I'm gonna leave you with this video one more time. We're gonna close it.
Pete Hegseth has been incredible with the, as I call it, the Department of War. We call it the Department of Defense, but between us, I think we're going to change the name. You want to know the truth? I think we're going to have some information on that maybe soon, but I think because, Department of Defense, we won the World War I, World War II. It was called the Department of War. And to me, that's really what it is. Pete.
All right, until next time, shalom to the elect.